Hello, everyone. In this video, I'm going to go over how to apply for an HST rebate if you purchased a pre-construction condo that you've rented out as an investor and you paid HST on closing, and how to actually get it back from the CRA. Okay, so before we get started, we're going to need a few things in order to apply for the rebate. You'll need the agreement of purchase and sale from the builder for the unit. You're going to need a couple of forms from the CRA. You're going to need the statement of adjustments that you get from your lawyer on closing. We're going to need some numbers from there to plug into these forms. And lastly, you're going to need a lease agreement. And the lease agreement needs to be for at least 1 year in order for you to be eligible for the rebate. Now, with that, I also want to put a disclaimer that I'm not a lawyer or a tax expert. If you're looking for something very specific or individual circumstances, please seek independent advice. What I'm sharing here is what I've applied for my own properties to claim the HST rebate. All right, so the first form you're going to need is the GST HST New Residential Rental Property Rebate Application. You can Google this and it'll bring you to this form. This first part is pretty straightforward. If you have it's mostly your personal information. If you have a business number, then you can input your business number right over here, and the CRA will credit it directly to your business account. You want to put in your social insurance number, language preferred, put English, claimant's legal name. This is going to be the name of the owner that's purchased the pre-construction property. Now, if there is a secondary owner, then you can put the second owner's name right here at the bottom in this area. And of course, if you have a third owner, then you can put the third owner's name too. Any additional owners, you may have to print out an additional sheet or schedule where you input their names. Next, you're going to be putting your mailing address, and this would be your address, the residence where you live. The next page, you're putting in the contact information of who you'd like to be contacted in case of any inquiries. You're putting in, your first name, last name, telephone number. And when you get to part B, and this part is where you actually put in the address of the leased property for which you're claiming the rebate for. So for your pre-construction property's address, you're going to be putting your unit number and street number, city, postal code, province. The relevant date is the closing date, the final closing date of the property. And the next date at the bottom here is the occupancy period. Now, occupancy period comes before final closing. So on the statement of adjustments, you would be able to find the occupancy date, and you'd be putting that here. And of course, you put the final closing on the relevant date. Now, the next page is the legal description of the property, which is how it's registered with the Land Registry Office. This you can actually get from the statement of adjustments. If you pull up the deed that you're getting along attached with the statement of adjustments, it'll have the actual legal description of the unit. So in my case, it's unit 29, level 2. And then I also have additional parking units. So I'll have the parking unit number here as well. The plan number is the condominium corporation number. So in this case, it'll be, this particular property that I'm applying for is in London, Ontario. So it's the Middlesex Standard Condominium Plan and the number. If yours is in Toronto, it'll be, TSCC, so Toronto Standard Condominium Corporation, and followed by a number. The next part, part C, you're going to put purchaser and landlord. Below that, you're going to see the purchase and sale agreement date. So this is the date on which you signed the agreement of purchase and sale, which of course you'll find in the actual agreement of purchase and sale on when you signed and finalized your sale. Type of construction, you're going to put new construction. Next page, part C, type of housing, you're going to put condominium unit. Type of application, you're going to put type 6 for the purposes of what we're doing here. And then you get back down to this part, which is the section on rebate calculation for type 6 and type 7. Now, this is where you have to pull out the statement of adjustments and go into some of the numbers. So in section 1 right over here, you're going to have to put in the GST number. Now, GST is the federal tax that you've paid on the condominium unit. So if you go into the statement of adjustments, you're going to have your HST federal portion, which is the 5% right over here. In this case, it's $32,362.83. So we're going to be plugging that number in right there. The next section is the fair market value of the residential complex. Now, the fair market value, for the purposes of what we're doing, you can go ahead and just put the purchase price. In my case, it's $707,400. And the next part is the purchase price minus or not including the GST HST. And this number you can actually find also in your statement of adjustments where it'll say net sale price. So this is the sale price without any GST HST, and that is 647,256.64 in this case. So we'll be plugging that number in there. So the next part is part D, which is the rebate calculation pretty much continued. You're going to be taking the first box here. And what you're doing here is you're plugging in, you're taking the number from line A and multiplying it by 36%. So in line A, we have 32,362.83. And if we multiply that by 36%, we get something like 11,000 range. But the maximum allowed, as you can see here, is $6,300. So if it is anything over $6,300 when you do that calculation, then you're going to put the max number here, $6,300. If it's anything less than $6,300, then you're going to put that number. Now, next one, if line B is 350,000 or less. So again, line B is the fair market value or the purchase price in this case. If it's less than 350 or less, they enter the amount from line D here. Well, in my case, my purchase price is more than 350,000. So in which case, I will do 450 minus line B, which is here, which is a negative number, divided by 100,000 times line D, which is $6,300 here. Now, my answer is going to be in the negative. So it says if negative, then enter 0. So I'm going to put 0 here, but don't worry, doesn't mean you're not going to get a rebate back. Just follow along here, because in section 2, it's going to really get down to the actual rebate amount. So in this line, you're going to just re-enter line E. So in this case, it's 0. Provincial new residential rental property rebate amount. Now this is what we're going to find on the next page and the next form that we fill out. And from that, line H is when you just add up line F and G. And in this case, it is 24,000. And I'll talk to you about how I got that 24,000 number. And that's pretty much it for the rest of this form. The rest you can pretty much ignore. And then we're going to go on to the next form, which is the GST 524 Ontario rebate schedule. Same thing, you're just going to put in your name. And here we're going to get into some more numbers. This part is just this one section. So it is pretty straightforward. Provincial part of the HST. Now, this is the total HST paid on the purchase. So this number you're able to get, again, from your statement of adjustments. You're going to go HST Ontario portion, which is 51,780 and 53. So we're going to plug that number right there. Next is, again, the fair market value of the property, which in this case is 707,400. The next line, C, is again talking about the net price, so not including HST, which again, from the statement of adjustments, we know is 647,256.64. Plug that number in right there. Ontario new residential rental property rebate amount. So basically, this is line A multiplied by 75%. So if we take 51,780 and we multiply it by 75%, we get 38,835.39, which, if you can see here, the maximum is 24,000. So if you're getting anything over 24,000, you're going to put 24,000 here. Now, you can match that, just to be sure, by going back to your final statement of adjustments. The Ontario new residential rental property rebate amount is right over here. HST rebate Ontario portion, 24,000. So that checks out. That's the maximum allowed. So that's the number that you're going to put right over there. And if we go back to our original form, you're going to be plugging that number right here, 24,000. And of course, when you add 24,000 with line F, which is 0, you get 24,000. So this is the rebate amount that you're eligible to get back. So going back to the second form back here again, that's pretty much it. You don't have to fill anything else out at the bottom. Now, once you fill out those forms, these are the things you're going to have to send to the CRA: your statement of adjustments, your agreement of purchase and sale, both the forms that we just filled out, and a copy of your lease agreement. And you're going to package that up and you're going to mail it to the CRA. I'm going to put the address in the description. Now, once you fill out these forms and sent it off to the CRA, you can expect to get your rebate anywhere within 6 to 8 weeks. I did mine recently for this particular property, and I was able to get it back within 8 weeks. If you have direct deposit and you fill out the direct deposit portion in one of the forms, you're able to get it directly deposited to your account, or they will send you a check to your mailing address that you put in the forms. If you found this confusing, then I would always suggest to hire professional help to help guide you through this. But if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thanks for watching.